good afternoon. I want to say good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everybody here who has joined us here on the Emergency Management Associates. We welcome you with open arms and hearts. Thank you for being with us. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina, as we've been doing for quite some time and getting a little time for people to join us. We're going to start off this broadcast with a salute to the United States of America with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. I'm asking everybody now to please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh, yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
Beautiful. I say this time and I say it again. These men are awesome. I want to thank all of our men and women in the armed forces. I want to thank all of them wherever they might be around the world, and also our allied armed forces who support us and who help keep this country strong and help keep this world strong and free. Thank you so much for your service. It does make a difference. It makes a world of difference where we're here and where we're going to go. God bless you, gentlemen, and thank you all for your service. May you all return home safely after your tours of duty end with the armed forces. Thank you so much for all you do, guys. We love you, we appreciate you, and again, thank you for your service. These people, folks, are the world's finest. The world's finest are no better people than these people that help protect us. Folks, we have a wide variety of things to talk about tonight. I first want to update you what is going on in Nevada. Burning Man, Nevada. Last night was a final closing part with the burning of the Burning Man statue, if you will, if that's what they want to call it. The Burning Man statue was burned down last night, and that was the closing ceremonies of the Burning Man concert and activities that started taking place about 10 days ago. Organizers of the annual Burning Man Music and Arts Festival lifted a driving ban yesterday afternoon as the muddy roads in that area that had stranded thousands of attendees to the Burning Man Festival in the Nevada desert had time enough to dry up and to allow people to begin leaving. The exodus operations have begun in Black Rock City. The organizer posted that at 2 p.m. yesterday, about 7 hours before the festival's fiery conclusion. The torching of the giant faceless man-shaped effigy that we showed you yesterday on 2 different videos. The man-shaped effigy was carried out last night after having been postponed twice due to the weather. As of this morning, the festival is asking participants to consider staying a little longer if they could. Traffic was so congested that at one point it was taking drivers roughly 7 hours to traverse a 5-mile route. That route was 18 lanes wide, packed with mud puddles and various other holes that were made by other vehicles that tried to leave Monday morning and even Sunday night. By mid-morning today, that time had dropped to 2 to 3 hours. Burning Man Festival organizer lifted driving ban and allowed people to leave uninhibited today. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the culture of the festival. Okay? You and I probably don't agree with what they've done. That is no doubt the case. Burning Man Festival organizers lifted the ban, and that was just the beginning of the journey home for the roughly 72,000 attendees who traveled to the festival's remote site in northern Nevada, about 125 miles north of the nearest airport in Reno. The airport warned on social media that it did not have the facilities to house travelers for long periods of time while they sorted out their plans. Even during normal years, the exodus traffic jams can last 6 to 9 hours, according to the organizers. Cars, trucks, and RVs stuffed with sleeping bags, stoves, and tents, all crammed onto a single 2-lane road leading to the nearest major highway. 18 lanes of traffic on the sandy lake bed there, all trying to merge onto a 2-lane highway all at once. But this year's participants have been stranded since Sunday after storms turned the desert playa into a mud bath. Close to an inch of precipitation flooded the area in monsoonal rain on Friday, prompting event organizers to close access to the festival until vehicles could safely pass, and to warn campers to conserve food and water. We reported on that yesterday. Now, I want to also report on something else that you all probably ought to know about. Okay? A lot of people have been talking about this. A lot of people have been fearful about this, and with good reason. Very, very good reason. Things have been happening beyond our control. Things have been happening over in that country called Russia. Okay? Russia has developed a new long-distance cruise missile. They are going to launch this experimental, what they call 9M730 Burevestnik thermonuclear armed cruise missile of the Russian armed forces from the Nowy Zemlya military training grounds in the Arctic. This is a new test of that experimental weapon. With that said, the United States also has and is going to be testing their own weapon. Okay? We have a new weapon of our own, and we're probably going to test it in the next few days as well. This is not just a USSR or Russia exploitation. Although Russia has, in all reality, been threatening the United States and also Britain with complete and utter annihilation. This has been an ongoing battle for a long, long time. A huge, long, long time. So guys, don't be surprised if you hear about this going on this week. I'm not sure where the U.S. is going to launch their weapon from. Probably out in the remote islands of the Pacific, as they have been doing for a very long time. I'm not even going to speculate on where. I think I do know where. Okay? But I'm not going to even go there. Now, there's something else that you probably should know about. This has been a problem that we have been talking about for a long time as well. During the weekend, the president's wife, Jill Biden, has come down with CV. And this has become a story because the president has been talking about the new variants coming out, and that we are all going to have to start wearing face diapers. We've talked about this as well. This is nothing new, as if we hadn't been talking about it before. But she, as you can see, has started wearing one again. Okay? Now, both the president and the first lady have had regular testing. It's a testing cadence to try to protect the integrity of the presidency of the United States. And Joe Biden also presented an award to a military captain today. And he removed his face diaper during the presentation, and so did the Army captain that received the Medal of Honor today. So what I'm saying is, he believes it's good enough to wear until he has to do something, then he takes it off. Okay? That's not going to be my method of operation. Okay? Last summer, the First Lady tested positive for CV while vacationing in South Carolina in August. President Biden tested positive a year ago, July. Both experienced rebound cases shortly after being treated. They were treated with Paxlovid, one of the new drugs that came out. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters in July in the White House briefing room that anyone who meets with the president is still being tested before their meeting, after members of the Israeli presidential delegation, Isaac Herzog's delegation, tested positive ahead of a bilateral meeting. She said, okay, this is Karine Jean-Pierre, said that they have testing protocols anytime someone meets with the president. So she says, I can tell you that anybody who meets with the president does indeed get tested. She said, I do. We all do. Jill Biden's diagnosis comes amid, like I said, renewed attention to CV as the world approaches the fourth virus season since CV arrived on the scene. Biden is also supposed to leave on Thursday for what they call the G20 summit in India, followed immediately by a visit to Vietnam. The U.S. senators, and I'm going to show you this because I do not want to talk about the name of this organization on the air. Okay? The U.S. senators for Control and Prevention said from earlier in the summer they showed a slight increase in hospital admissions, and they exaggerated it. Okay? I've talked with my doctors, I've talked with other doctors, I've talked with emergency departments, and I have visited emergency departments. But this organization right here said that they showed a slight increase in hospital admissions. And they said the positive CV tests, although not nearly as high as past summers, overall there were about 4 new admissions for every 100,000 people nationwide in the week ending August 19th, which is considered low according to the thresholds. They said 7 counties had high levels of CV hospitalizations, but 117 counties and about 3.6% of the country were in the median threshold. About a quarter of those counties were in Florida, they say. Now, an alleged new variant, BA.2.86. The new variant, B, capital B, capital A, 0.2.86, has captured scientists' attention because it's highly mutated. But so far it's only been detected in a very small number of people globally. Nonetheless, it doesn't look good, they say, in terms of the non-stop evolution of this thing. Dr. Eric Topol, who's a cardiologist at the Scripps Research Translation Institute, said that it keeps finding, meaning the virus keeps finding new ways to challenge humans, to find new hosts and repeat hosts. That doctor says it's relentless. Do I believe it? Not at all. Okay? My doctors say it's complete nonsense. Okay? That's a story on that. Now, moreover, before I get into talking about earthquakes, I want to talk about this man here. Jimmy Buffett passed away Friday night, early Saturday morning this past weekend.
American singer-songwriter Jimmy Buffett has died at the age of 76. That's according to his website on Saturday. Buffett was best known for his song Margaritaville, an escapist tribute to the tropical life. The statement said he passed away peacefully on the night of September 1st, surrounded by his family, friends, music and dogs. He lived his life like a song till the very last breath, it added. Margaritaville, released in 1977, peaked at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 list. It spent 22 weeks in the charts, making it his most popular single. Buffett released over 24 albums and played countless concerts over 6 decades. He's survived by his wife, 2 daughters and a son. American singer-songwriter Jimmy Buffett has died at the age of 76.
Okay? Jimmy Buffett died at age 76 on Friday night, Saturday morning. A lot of us love the man. I loved his music. As I have told you on several occasions over the years, I attended one of his concerts at the Coors, what used to be the Coors Amphitheater in San Diego in Chula Vista, California. It was a great concert, an absolutely great concert. The Cheeseheads, what they used to call the Cheeseheads, were there. Jimmy Buffett was loved by everyone. His music was found and refound worldwide throughout the years. It is still popular in a lot of places. It's still being played relentlessly because Jimmy Buffett was an artist. He knew how to attract crowds. He knew how to work crowds and get them worked up towards his music. He learned how to love people, and he spread that love all the time. Jimmy Buffett was 76. He was born in 1946 and just passed away this past weekend. I loved his music. Farewell, Jimmy. You're going to be missed. Till we meet again. Now, there's another tropical storm that we're going to be talking about. Tropical Storm Lee, that is going to, or is expected to be, going to intensify very rapidly. Now, I'm going to enlarge this picture so you can really see what we're talking about. Okay? Look where this storm is now. Over in the central mid-Atlantic. That was as of 5 p.m. today, just about 2 hours ago. Okay? As the storm intensifies, it's going to go over and through the U.S. and British Virgin Islands first. Then it's going to reach over and tap Puerto Rico and the islands around Puerto Rico. Then it's going to reach out and tap Cuba. And literally the Bahamas as well. As it moves towards Florida. Okay? Sometime next week, probably by Wednesday or Thursday next week, the storm will intensify and it'll reach out and touch Florida again. The Florida Keys and the eastern Florida Peninsula, Cape Canaveral, Orlando, Florida, in this region. We do not know at this time where it will land. This is what we call the cone of uncertainty. We don't even have real accurate spaghetti models yet. But Tropical Storm Lee this is the proposed path. Okay? Again, the storm center, the National Hurricane Center, does not show the size of the storm because right now it's a tropical storm out here in the central mid-Atlantic. It will get bigger. That we can promise you. So we're going to track this storm just as we did Aveyah, and we'll keep you up to date as to how the storm is going to progress over the next several days to a week. Something else that some of you may not know about. During the weekend, there was a boat rescue over in Alaska. A huge boat rescue in Alaska. Let me enlarge this picture again so you can better see this. Okay? At 4:35 p.m. on, I believe it was Saturday, the U.S. Coast Guard sector in Anchorage at the command center had watchstanders that overheard the ferry Aurora communicating with a vessel in distress. The watchstanders relayed communications through the crew of the Aurora and determined that a 75-foot glacier tour boat called Lulu Bell had run aground in Columbia Bay with approximately 19 people aboard. Coast Guard Sector Anchorage dispatched an MH-60 Jayhawk helicopter aircrew from the Coast Guard Air Station Kodiak and an MH-65 Dolphin helicopter crew from Aviation Support Facility Cordova and a 45-foot response boat. which has a medium crew from the U.S. Coast Guard Station Valdese to respond to the situation. Lulu Bell became grounded near the glacier, and the passengers disembarked to effect rescue. The Coast Guard air crews landed next to the vessel and safely transported all of the passengers and crew to the Valdese airport by approximately 9:25 p.m. Saturday. No injuries were reported. Coast Guard Commander Scott Farr, who is Search and Rescue Mission Coordinator at Center Anchorage, said, quote, "I want to commend all of our teams on their swift and decisive actions resulting in a flawless rescue last night. The safe and effective rescue of every passenger on the Lulu Bell is a testament to the effectiveness and the attentiveness of our watchstanders and our readiness of our response crews from all of our units. We are extremely grateful to the crew of the Aurora and the City of the Valdese Fire Department, building maintenance, and the harbor staff whose efforts were instrumental in the success of this case." So we want again to commend our armed forces in the Coast Guard. This is a very dangerous area over in the Gulf of Alaska area. Anytime these ships or boats get anywhere near the glaciers, they can run aground, and the ships can capsize. This has happened many times in the past. Fortunately, that was not the case this past weekend. We commend them for their actions. Now, I want to get talking about our earthquakes that have happened today. We've been keeping an eye on what has been going on. There was one earthquake that I was concerned about, and I'm going to show you that in just a few minutes here. Okay? This earthquake is a 5.8 over here in Indonesia. They say it's a 5.8. It came out as a 6.2 magnitude earthquake this morning at approximately 11:12 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. They have put it at a 5.8, which is a very large earthquake. USGS and some of the other agencies are listing it as a moderate earthquake, but it's not. This is a very large upper 5.8 magnitude earthquake. Now, we only have one aftershock that's been reported here. There are dozens of aftershocks. Okay? This is a 4.9 5.0. They're listing it as a 4.9 because they know darn well it was larger. Again, I want to caution all of you, when you see or hear about a 4.9, consider it a downgrade. The 0.9 society is alive and well. Okay? But this earthquake, this country here, this island in Indonesia has suffered through two 5.0 earthquakes. One being 5.0, maybe 5.2, and the other one being a 6.2, which is actually a half magnitude downgrade from what it was when it was first announced. Now, I want to show you something else. Okay? It seems like this island is sparsely occupied. That's what it seems. Okay? But I want to take you over here, and I think this is where it's at, right here. Okay? There are villages all over this island of Indonesians. But over here to the north and west, okay, this is Kayunga, Indonesia. This is also a sprawling city here. It's very much a sprawling city here. Okay? I just zoomed in here to let you have some kind of idea where it is and what's going on here. This is very much a huge, sprawling city. Literally all over here. Okay? So these people have suffered a large earthquake. That earthquake was 100 miles away from this town, Papua New Guinea. Okay? Even though it was 100 miles, look where this earthquake happened. Over here in the mountainous regions of this tropical rainforest. In the mountainous region of this tropical rainforest over here. That was huge. Now, we still don't have any reports of injuries or damage from this earthquake. Okay? But I'm sure that information will come out very soon. Don Patoka's back here with us, and I appreciate that, Don. God bless you. He says, I'm better than I was, but I'm still not 100%. He says, very frisky. I've heard that from Don before. Don, we love you. We urge you and wish you a happy and wellness recovery as well. Knowing Don, he will do just that. Don is a great man that I've known for quite some time. He's a trooper. But anyway, this was not the first earthquake or the last. This is a 4.6, guys. This hit approximately 12:30 a.m. this morning, Eastern Time, over here in Indonesia. This is a 4.6 earthquake, 30 miles deep. Okay? Now, I'm going to back this out just a little bit. We have this earthquake over in Papua New Guinea. We have this one that I just highlighted over here in Indonesia. We have 3 other earthquakes over here in this one in Java, for example. This is a 4.3. This is 39.5 miles deep. This one is over here off the coast of southern Sumatra, near Bengkulu, Indonesia. This is another earthquake that came out as a 5.3. They've downgraded to a 4.9. Again, the 0.9 society is alive and well. Over here on the northwest, excuse me, I shouldn't say the northwest, the southwest side of Sinabong, Indonesia, we have another large 5.0 earthquake. Large 5.0 earthquake. Folks, this happened over here on this earthquake fault. As I've told you before, there are 7 earthquake faults here in this region. 7 different huge faults. The tectonic plates are alive and well. Where each of these faults is, they're undergoing subduction. Each of these plates are subducting, one under the other. That is why we have these earthquakes over here in Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and also over here to the east in the islands of the Pacific here. Okay? Over here in the southern Fiji region, we had another 5.7 earthquake. It came out as a 5.9. Okay? This happened, excuse me, this actually happened last night. Okay? This happened at 8:55 p.m. Eastern Time last night while we were on the air. Further south here to the east, this is in the Kermadec Islands. The Kermadec Islands of New Zealand. Now, as you can see, it appears that this earthquake is far away from an inhabited area. What have I told you about the Kermadec Islands? The Kermadec Islands are not inhabited by human people. The Kermadec Islands are a bird sanctuary. There are multiple islands of a bird sanctuary. The reason is because no one can get to these islands except it be at high tide. Because low tide, you would see a bunch of rock, and rock just beneath the water, which would poke a hole in your boat and you would go down. So there are no humans that would be able to live on this island at all. Okay? Any of these islands. So here's another 5.0 earthquake here in the Kermadec Islands. And as you already know, over here in New Zealand, there are plenty of other earthquakes here, but again, they don't want us to know about them, so they don't show them. There are approximately 24 earthquakes over in New Zealand by itself. Okay? Just by itself. There's a lot of subduction action going on. Now, over here in the Philippines, again, this is not the only earthquake in the Philippines. This earthquake they're showing us is a 4.7 earthquake at Punta, or near Punta, why can I not say this? Punta Gaitan, Philippines. Okay? This is 46 miles deep. Not a very deep quake at all, reasonably. But again, they're not showing us all the earthquakes here in the Philippines either. There's another 15 earthquakes in the Philippines here. Let's go over here to Taiwan. They're talking about all of the earthquakes that have hit here in Taiwan. Okay? This is a 4.4 that hit yesterday, just off the southeast coast of the island here. This is a 4.4, 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. We go here to the west. This was over on the western shores of Taiwan. Folks, this is a 5.0 earthquake. A 5.0 earthquake. Now, let me do this. They have made this site so it's not working. So we're going to make it work again. Hey, we're back. We're definitely back. Let's go back over here to Taiwan. Okay, this hit on land. This is another large earthquake. Look where it hit. Okay, this is also a darn it. Felt like something bit my finger here. This hit on land, guys. I'm going to zoom in here. This is also farmland and a sprawling city altogether. So folks, there was some damage over here. Anytime we get a large earthquake of any size, there's always some kind of damage there. But again, we have not been hearing any specific damage estimates or any injuries from this 5.0 earthquake. This was also only 7.3 miles deep. This is a very shallow earthquake. So folks, when you have shallow earthquakes, they are stronger than they are when they're deep. So there is going to be damage. There may be even some injuries from this quake. This happened at 5:30 this morning Eastern Time. So this is actually Wednesday morning over there. Okay? So 5.0 earthquake hits the western part of Taiwan today. This earthquake just to the east of Taiwan here, this is also 4.8, 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep, 92 miles southeast of Taiwan. Notice its location. Again, it's on the earthquake superhighway here. The great big huge earthquake fault running all the way over here to Japan. Again, these earthquakes at Japan are not the only ones that hit. This is again a 5.0 earthquake. Where did it hit? Okay. USGS said it hit the east coast of Honshu, Japan. No, it did not. No, it did not hit on the east coast. Folks, again, there is a sprawling city here. You notice this harbor area. We've had multiple 5s and even a 6.2 that hit here over near the harbor area right here. We've had multiple earthquakes here. We've had multiple 5s hit here before. This is another 5.0 at least, probably a 5.2 earthquake here, but this is just another large earthquake that's hit here over in Japan. Okay? You can never trust the agency saying it's on the East Coast. It's not. Okay? This is 36 miles deep as well. It's a fairly shallow earthquake. However, I don't think this may have even been tectonic. It's possible. Because the scientists say and tell us that the Earth's crust that we walk on, is 39 miles deep. This is 36. This may be down into the magma, the plastic magma. Okay? We talked about this before as well. Okay? It might be the part of the crust, it might be down in the asthenosphere. Okay? Over here off the coast of Honshu here, we have a 4.5 moderate earthquake. This is 23 miles deep. Again, you can't always say what they're showing us is correct, but it's not. I could show you plenty of other earthquakes in this region. Now, an earthquake that we should be paying attention to. This is in Tanzania. This is a 5.2 large earthquake. It came in as a 5.3. A 5.3 here in Ukungi, Tanzania. Okay? This is something that we need to keep a very close eye on. We've been having a lot of earthquakes in this region. Why? Because we also have volcanism going on here. There's also a volcano over here that we have to keep an eye on. Yes, we do have an earthquake fault there that you can see in the lay of the land here. There is an earthquake fault. And with faults, we also have volcanoes quite a few times. Okay? Now, over here in the central mid-Atlantic, this is a 5.0 large earthquake. How many times have we had earthquakes down in the lower South Pacific? It's not South Pacific, the South Atlantic, the South Sandwich Islands. This is just one more earthquake in the South Atlantic. Okay? This is north of Ascension Island, a 5.0 earthquake. Now, over here in South America, we've had a lot more earthquakes than they're showing here. They're showing 3. That is stupid. There's about 25 earthquakes here in South America. This one is near Copiapó, Chile, a 4.3. Okay? This happened yesterday evening, just after 8 p.m. A 4.3 moderate earthquake. North of there, a 4.0. This one is 70 miles deep. 70 miles deep. This is northern Chile, guys. Atacama, and Tarapaca, Chile right here. This is a 4.0 earthquake, 25 miles deep in Tarapaca, Chile. Okay, right along the coast. Like I said, there's a total of about 25 earthquakes here in South America. But again, they'll never show it. There's a bunch of earthquakes here in Central America and Southern Mexico. But again, they're not going to show it, are they? Okay? Over here. Okay? We told you that Tropical Storm Lee is way down in the north central Atlantic Ocean out here. It will hit over here in the US and British Virgin Islands here. We have earthquakes here. This is a 3.7. 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. This is a 3.8. Okay? The Cayman Ridge here. This earthquake fault here, the Cayman Ridge. A 3.8 earthquake and a 3.6 here. Northwest of the US and British Virgin Islands. Over here in Puerto Rico. These earthquakes here that I'm showing you now, I don't believe they have anything to do with the 8.0 and 8.4 earthquakes that hit here almost 4 years ago. This is a 2.7 near Aguirre, Puerto Rico, central south Puerto Rico. Okay, a 2.7. This is a 3.0. Small 3.0 quake. This right here is a 2.6, 4.7 miles deep, and this is a 2.5, 14 miles deep. Okay, but over here, we're still getting earthquakes over here in southwestern Puerto Rico. These are aftershocks of the 8.0 and 8.4 major earthquakes that we had here 4 years ago. December 28th and December 30th. December 26th and December 28th, 2019. Okay? Notice they're all in a line. A 2.2 near Fugue, Puerto Rico. A 2.8. And this is a 2.5 near Guanica, Puerto Rico. That's where my friend Dominic lives. Okay? Over here in the Mona Passage. The Mona Passage is a body of water between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. This is a 4.0 earthquake. I saw it come in. This is a 4.0 magnitude earthquake. Right in the middle of the Mona Passage here. This is 63 miles deep. 63 miles deep. Now, why are we getting all these earthquakes? Look what they're at. This kind of tells you the story. North of it, we have the Cayman Ridge that are dragging earthquakes from Central America, and they're spread out from Central America all the way east, past the Cayman Islands, north of Jamaica, skirting the southern coast of Cuba, north of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, north of Puerto Rico, north of the US and British Virgin Islands, north and east of Martinique, where we had a 5.0 earthquake earlier this past week, and other islands in the outlying reaches of the islands of the Atlantic Ocean here and the Caribbean. Okay? That same Cayman Ridge goes south after it passes the islands. Then it makes an abrupt westward turn and goes into Venezuela. You can see that. That's where we get the earthquakes from. It's over here in the Central America region. But again, they're not showing about 12 earthquakes over here in Central America. They're not showing about 25 earthquakes over here in southern Mexico. Of course they're not. Heaven forbid they tell us the truth. Okay? They're not showing us much of anything here, either over here in China, in the Middle East. Nothing. 60 earthquakes over here in Turkey today that they're not reporting. About 25 earthquakes here in Greece. Another 30 earthquakes over here in Italy and Sicily. Okay? What do you think is going on? How about earthquakes over here in the German, Swiss, and Italian Alps here? And over here in France? They tell us about this earthquake here in Poland. This is a 4.3. USGS has this as a 4.0. Came in as a 4.3 today. Okay? This is 3 miles deep too. Look where it's at. Look at all this faulting here. Look at all this faulting in this region here. It's no small wonder that we don't have more earthquakes here. I think we do, but they're just not reporting them to us. Okay? That's my commentary on this area. We have earthquakes over here in Norway and Sweden. We have one in Finland today. Okay? We have even more earthquakes over here in Iceland. They're not telling us about any of them. Psst. It's just a sad day, guys, when the agency's too stupid to report information to us. Over here in Alaska, okay? Over here in the Gulf of Alaska, this is a 3.8 earthquake. Over here near Tadalik, Alaska, this is just south of Valdese. This is a 3.7 earthquake. A 3.7 earthquake. Notice over here near the volcanoes, we're still having earthquakes here. Not quite the huge number of earthquakes, but we're still having earthquakes. This is a 0.6 microquake. This is a 0.5 microquake. This is a 1.5 tremor at the volcano. Old Ililama volcano here. Now, folks, there are other volcanoes that have been doing business here. In Alaska, what a concept. What a concept of having volcanoes in Alaska. 60 plus volcanoes in Alaska, guys. The Alaska Volcanic Observatory put out a red warning for Shishaldin volcano. Aviation color code red, alert level red, increased to red warning, explosive eruption here at Shishaldin volcano. It's serious. While it was calming down in recent weeks, it leveled up today. An ash cloud from Shishaldin volcano reaching 25,000 feet high, 7.3 kilometers above sea level, and rising was reported by a pilot at 8:42 a.m. Alaska time. Satellite data suggests that the cloud may be as high as 30,000 feet above sea level, 9.1 kilometers deep. I mean high, deep. Boy, I've gotten these earthquakes, don't I? This follows, the activity here at Shishaldin follows a several hour increase in seismicity, meaning earthquakes continue hitting around the volcano. That is magma hitting the volcano. Magma under pressure coming into Shishalden volcano. The aviation color code again has been raised to red. The volcanic alert level is raised to warning. The cloud mass of ash and gas is visible in satellite data moving towards the southeast, and lightning associated with the ash cloud has been detected. As we have talked about volcanoes erupting in the past, we talked to you about lightning in the ash eruption. It frequently happens because the electrical charges in the magma area. The electrical charges in the area where the magma is and up into the upper parts of the atmosphere are so charged, frequently we see lightning. Okay? Based on other eruption cycles here at Shishalden volcano, significant ash emissions are likely to continue for at least several hours. Pyroclastic and mud flows are going to happen on the immediate flanks of the volcano. This may continue happening for a while. Again, this is being observed by satellite data and also by data links that they have on land. Okay? They have seismic and infrasound sensors, web cameras, and telemetric geodetic networks. They're giving the Alaska Volcanic Observatory information. They also have planes that are flying outside the area of the volcano that have been reporting information to the Aveyah in Alaska. Okay, so that volcano has been erupting today. There's about 42 volcanoes that are presently erupting, literally all over the world. Does anybody have any questions about what we've been telling you so far? Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Space Force out says U.S. military sending new waves of troops to Iraq, big trouble. It's not just that. We're sending troops over there to UKR. We've sent more money to the UKR than we sent to Maui. And by the way, I'm not forgetting about Maui. Even though I'm not going to talk much about Maui right now, it's not going to be the end of it. That I can promise you. We're not going to forget Maui. Ever. Ever. Now, with everything going on, the earthquakes, the volcanoes going on, there's a lot of information happening. Today I was going to talk to you about California. I'm going to put that off until tomorrow. We will be talking about seismic events in California tomorrow. Okay? There's a lot of seismic events happening in Southern California. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. If we don't, we're not doing justice to our own program. Everyone needs to know what's going on. Okay? I'm not putting anybody off, but I'm just giving you the information that we have. Okay? As you can see, there's about 60 earthquakes all over Alaska. And yes, we are having earthquakes over here on the northeast end of this great big huge park here. Okay? Denali National Park. A 1.3 tremor here. And over here is a 2.1. Okay? Minor earthquakes happening over here in Denali National Park today. Yes, we have earthquakes over here just north of that. Central Alaska. This is a 1.5. This one's a 1.4. Further west here is a 1.3. South here, just north of Denali, we have a 2.5 here. A 2.5 in Salcha, Alaska. Okay, that's what's happening there. I'm going to take you over to Hawaii. Okay, look what we have here. Just about 75 miles off the coast of the Big Island. Okay, this is a 2.8 magnitude quake, minor earthquake. This is also 4 miles deep, a 4-mile deep earthquake. Over here, okay, this is over on the eastern flank of Mauna Loa, a 2.3 earthquake on Mauna Loa today. Now this is not the only one. If I were to show you all the seismic activity at Mauna Loa, you'd understand that a lot is going on. Over here near Kilauea, okay, you see Holly Mau Mau crater, you see the volcano here. It is alive and well, it's still moving. Look at all these earthquakes just outside the southern rim of Kilauea, a 1.7. I'm not going to give you all of them, I'm just going to surf through it. Okay, this is a 1.8. This one here is a 0.9. Right down here, we have a 2.0. Okay? Further south, this is a 0.7 here. I'm going to go a little east here. This is a 1.7. They're all spread out here. This earthquake down here to the northeast. This is 0.8. This is not near Kilauea, except it is near in terms of distance. That's all. This earthquake, I don't believe, has anything to do with Kilauea. It has everything to do about the surrounding area. This is fern forest down here. This is just barely north of fern forest. All this area here is considered fern forest. Now you can see this dark gray area on the southeast side of the Big Island here. All of this is recent lava that came out of the ground 4 years ago after the eruption of Kilauea, where 24 fissures opened up after Kilauea and Pu'u'o'o drained out, and that magma came out here into the East Rift Zone. Fern forest, we had several fissures that opened up, and further over here in Leilani Estates, fissures opened up. And there was plenty of lava that made it to the coast of Hawaii. Plenty of lava came out of those fissures and traveled all over here, all the way to the water here on Hawaii. It could happen again. It could very easily happen again. Now, I zoomed in here. There's a reason. This is an old picture of the Big Island. This is during the time that those fissures had opened up. What you see here are clouds of steam and ash coming out of these fissures. Okay? These are what they call lava plumes. Lava plumes. Okay? They still have not got new pictures for us. And I don't think they will for a while. They want everybody to remember what happened here on the Big Island. Okay? Again, over here at Maui, things are still not roses over here in Maui. It'll be a long time before West Maui, Lahaina area are brought back and recovered. It'll be a very long time. And we're still praying for these great individuals that have survived heck and back. Every time I think about it, I get choked up. And I think everybody should. Space Force South says, I think there is something prophetic about Google codes hidden throughout. I would have to agree with you to a certain extent. But please don't, lay a lot of credence in the Google codes. Okay? Those are false flags. Those are false flags. George Rashad's here in the chat, says, Ron, did you know that the colors have a numerical frequency? If you Google the number of frequency of blue, it comes 6.66. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. It's a very interesting thought and idea. Okay? I found that out about 2 weeks ago and I was floored. I really was. Totally taken aback. Now, I want to show you this, because we don't often see USGS tell us anything about Canada. This is about the furthest north earthquake that we've shown you here that USGS has given to us. This is a 0.8 microquake over here in Chilliwack, Canada. 2 miles north of Chilliwack, Canada, a 0.8 tremor, microquake. You just don't see that. I sometimes feel like USGS couldn't give a darn about southwestern British Columbia. They just don't report. Over here in Washington, Sultan, Washington. It's a 1.1 tremor. Further down here, just north of Mount Rainier, this is a 1.4 supposed explosion near Greenwater, Washington. A 1.4 explosion near Greenwater, Washington. Let's zoom in here and see what we can see, all right? We're on a voyage of discovery. Here we go, delving into the unknown. We want to know more about these explosions. Okay, let's see what we see here. Okay, this particular explosion is 0.8 kilometers deep. Maybe just over a quarter of a mile deep. Okay? A 1.4 explosion, 7 miles west of Greenwater, Washington. 7 miles west of Greenwater, Washington. Okay? That's real interesting. We can't get any closer to Greenwater here. That's as close as they're going to let us come to showing what Greenwater town is. Okay? It's not an explosion. If it is, it's combustus, spontaneous, combustus carnivorous, exploding tree. Okay? Over here at Mount Rainier. I just love showing this. This thrills my heart to pieces. Okay? This is a 0.2 microquake. This is also only almost a quarter of a mile deep. This is down inside the volcano where this happened. Magma is definitely up here in the tube, further up here at the height of the tube of the magma chamber here at Mount Rainier. This is also 0.5 microquake here. Southwest of Mount St. Helens, we have another 0.5 here. Interesting. Down here at Mount St. Helens, and I reported to you about Mount St. Helens last night, what do we see here? This is a cache of earthquakes, and this is near the summit of the volcano. Okay, what do we have going on here? Look at this. This is 0.1 tremor, microquake. This is at minus 0.2 microquake. Now, this is also 2 miles deep. 2 miles deep into the volcano, Mount St. Helens. This, folks, is a surface quake. This is most interesting because this surface quake is 2.3 miles deep. A 0.0 supposed surface quake that's 2 miles deep. That's really interesting. How about this, a 0.3? A microquake. This is 2.1 kilometers deep. Just over a mile deep. Mount St. Helens. All this is happening down there in the magma chamber, right? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Up here at the rim of the volcano, we have a 0.3 here. Very interesting. Very interesting. This one is 2.1 miles deep, down inside the volcano. You can't make this stuff up. Down inside the volcano. Okay? Further south here, on the west side of the Sierra Mountains. This is Cascadia, Oregon. This is a 1.1 tremor in Cascadia, Oregon. Okay? I'm just saying. I'm just showing you. Down here near Petrolia, California, we showed you this here area yesterday. Folks, this is a 2.1 earthquake. 2.1 earthquake. This is 7 miles deep. A 2.1 minor earthquake, 7 miles deep here. Very interesting again. Let's go east, young man. This is Lowman, Idaho. I just love this. I just love this. This is north, this is south. I shouldn't even say that. It's not South Idaho at all. It's also not North Idaho. This is Central Idaho. Okay? Lowman, Idaho. This is a 2.6 earthquake. A minor earthquake over here in Central Idaho. Okay? A lot of stuff happening there. How about up here? This happens to be north of Fishing Bridge. This is north of Yellowstone National Park main entrance. This is western Montana. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake. This is also in the caldera of Yellowstone. The caldera area of Yellowstone is very wide. The magma chamber is 11 Grand Canyons in size. Just the magma chamber of Yellowstone is 11 Grand Canyons inside. That's a huge magma chamber, guys. It is huge. Further south here, this is Mammoth, Wyoming here. Mammoth, Wyoming. They have their own geysers here, guys. The Mammoth Geyser Basin. We still have Yellowstone right here. This is Little West Thumb right here. Just over here in the center of Yellowstone Lake, there is a magma dike that has formed underneath the lake. A magma dike that looks like this. It has not penetrated the lake. It has, however, been holding magma down there beneath the surface between the bottom of the lake and the magma chamber. There's magma down there. It's working its way north up into the lake. When it does that, we're going to have a volcanic eruption there. Rather prolific, if that's a word, about volcanoes. It's going to be a huge explosion with cooler water hitting hotter magma. Although the water is heated up in Yellowstone Lake since the magma dike has opened up underneath it. But that's all. That's all. There are other earthquakes in this region here, but they're not talking about it. They're not talking about it. North of Salt Lake City. And folks, what you need to know is north of Salt Lake City, way north of Salt Lake City, north of the Great Salt Lake, is a place called Snowville, Utah. Snowville, Utah. There's a reason they call it Snowville, Utah. Please let me show you a picture of Snowville, Utah. Okay? I think you're going to get a big kick out of this. Oh, smack. It didn't show up. Darn it. I want to show you snow in Snowville, Utah. Folks, this is the north side of Yellowstone Lake. It's the evaporated portion of the lake here. This used to have water in it. This brown area used to have water in it. It's evaporated. This is the Great Salt Lake. I should say Yellowstone Lake. This is the Great Salt Lake here. Okay? This is Howell, Utah. Just north of Howell, Utah, there is Snowville. And there is now snow at Snowville, Utah. Okay? This is a 1.0 tremor here at Howell, Utah. And this is Korean, Utah, at 0.8 microquake here. Yes, we do get earthquakes here. It's been a while since we've had earthquakes here in this part of Utah. We get them all the time down here around Salt Lake City. But again, USGS doesn't want to show us that today. I wonder why. I know why. I really know why. It's incredible, guys. It really is. Now, I'm sorry that my picture went away. There I am. I'm back. I'm definitely back. Okay? Yes, well, before I let you go here, I'll let this map go away. There's a couple other things that I want to show you on the USGS map. Over here. This is Horntown, Oklahoma. I passed by a sign on the way here when I was in Oklahoma that said Horntown, Oklahoma. We have a 2.3 magnitude earthquake in Horntown, Oklahoma. Why do you think that? Do you think there's any relationship to the plumbing over here? Oh yeah, there is. Because right over here, just northeast of that earthquake, is a plumbing operation here that goes down into the earth to pull oil and gas out. Okay? There's pumps and jacks all over this area is what I'm saying. And you can see the oil plots all over here. They're quite prolific here. Anywhere from 10 miles away, these earthquakes can be related to the pumps and jacks, and they definitely are. Okay? Just northeast of there. This is tiny. They say this is a quarry blast near Hobart, Oklahoma. Let's take us out on a voyage of discovery. Good old Hobart, Oklahoma. An explosion? An alleged quarry blast? Okay? It does not look like there's too many quarries here, guys. Sorry. This is farmland, USGS. This has nothing to do with quarries at all. There's not any quarries out here, USGS. This is an earthquake, a 1.5 tremor out here in Oklahoma, not a quarry blast. Sorry, USGS, strike 2 here. This, folks, is the pneumatic fault, and we will be talking about that this week. 2 earthquakes here. This one is in New Madrid, Missouri. This is a 1.6 today in New Madrid, Missouri. I will bet you that there's more than that there, and we'll maybe look at that tomorrow, maybe Thursday. Okay? The 1.6 tremor at New Madrid, Missouri. Over here, in the Banda Sea, in the southern part of Indonesia, it just was a 5.0 earthquake down there. Doesn't surprise me. Over here near the Illinois-Kentucky border region, an area where I've had a disaster drill before, not just an earthquake, but a drug disaster drill. Okay? Involving Ohio, Illinois, Kentucky, this whole area here. This is a 1.7 earthquake here, a 1.7 tremor here, in the border area of Kentucky, Illinois, and even Ohio here. We did have a disaster here about 2016. I was there. Okay? So that does happen. Okay? So that is what's happened here in the United States today. I've shown you around the world and in the U.S. as well. Now, I'm going to show you some other things here before we get out of here tonight. Okay? I told you about a hurricane that will be hitting here next week. Tropical Storm Lee. My middle name is Lee, so you can blame this one on me. We had Hurricane Dawn just about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I kind of backhandedly blame that on Don Patoka. This one you can blame on me, Hurricane Lee. Crazy as it is, we'll see where it takes us. Now I want to take you over to an interesting place here. Okay? This is a video I picked out of a doe feeding her brand new fawns. This is over on a resident's land. Okay? A beautiful mother deer feeding her two fawns here. This is awesome. Okay? This is a good part of our show. I think it's really a good part of the show. Now, you might think I'm a little crazy. What does this have to do with emergencies and disasters? Not a darn thing. Okay? I wanted to show you this. Okay? Anytime your dog starts licking you, licking is a beautiful thing. The dog is showing you attention. The dog is showing you attention. Why? Why do you think the dog is showing you attention? Before you get irritated at the dog wants you to know something. The dog is showing you that he or she loves you. He is showing you love and wanted attention. Showing you that he or she cares about you. It's beautiful. Okay? This releases hormones and soothes and relaxes the dog, giving them a sense of security and helps them build a bond with all of us. Sometimes I get irritated with my little Crystal because she's a licker. She loves attention. She loves showing love. Now, something else that I wanted to show you tonight. This is a dog named Twinkle. This is a dog named Twinkle. Why do you think I might be showing you about an elderly dog named Twinkle? All stray and shelter dogs' dreams come to a day when they finally find a forever family. When they find their forever family, it's the most important moment of their lives. Twinkle was eagerly waiting for that moment too, but instead of it receiving all the love that she deserved, she experienced the biggest heartbreak of her life. Let's follow her on a journey as she discovers the meaning of true love. In June 2022, this adorable senior Chihuahua named Twinkle was found on the streets of Miami, Florida. She was brought to True and Faithful Pet Rescue Mission, a rescue that saves senior and unwanted dogs from high kill shelters. She was underweight and had a serious dental issue, a serious, terrible skin infection, and she hardly had any fur on her. She also needed surgery to remove her mammary tumors. Luckily, the surgery was a success, and after a couple weeks, Twinkle completely recovered, and she gained weight. She was excited to start a new life. In September 2022, The rescue shared the fact that Twinkle was adopted. Her parents seemed amazing, and everyone at the shelter thought that she would finally receive all the love that she deserved. 4 months after she was adopted, her family surrendered her to the rescue. Her parents decided to give up on her because she, the dog, Twinkle, wanted to sleep with them in their bed. They had other senior chihuahuas and they did not let them sleep in the bed either. So when her parents came to the shelter to surrender her, they handed her over the fence. They didn't even have the wherewithal to go into the shelter itself. They handed her over to the fence and left. Twinkle kept looking at the fence as they left and walked away from her life. You could tell that her heart was broken. Twinkle was beyond devastated and confused. One of the shelter workers remembered walking into the main dog room to see her sitting in the corner on a dog bed, closed off and shaking with fear. She looked at you with such confusion on her face and pain in her heart. Madison Mulvihill, who is a social media coordinator for True and Faithful Pet Rescue Mission, said Twinkle was an extremely well-behaved dog. All she ever wanted was love and cuddles, and her parents couldn't give her that. After they found out what she really wanted, they handed her back. Every one of the people at the rescue was devastated. They loved Twinkle very much, and they were unable to understand how anyone could surrender a loving dog like Twinkle. Twinkle is not just adorable, but she has the biggest personality despite being only 3.5 pounds. Twinkle loves attention and is not afraid to approach you when she wants to be loved. She is joyful. She has the cutest little personality and little hops when she treads through the grass of the ranch. Her friends at the rescue were determined to help her, and they made her a TikTok video about her and told her story, hoping that it would help her find her forever family. Twinkle won the hearts of millions of people, and the rescue was swamped with adoption requests. Now, let me play a video that shows a happier Twinkle. Yes, this is indeed beautiful. And here it is.
Until my moment comes, I'll say I did it all. I did it all. I own every second that this world could give. Saw so many places, the things that I did, and with every broken bone, until my moment.
That poor little Twinkle, left by her former owners, laying over in the dog bed by herself, lonely, scared, and shaking, finally found a beautiful home. What a beautiful story. I want to show you that because it shows a love for that little dog. It shows a love for people. All the dogs want is to know that their family loves and cares about them. That's all that they want. Now, in closing, I've talked a lot about health. I've talked a lot about politics. I've talked a lot about our countries, our love for our families, and our love for our fellow man. I wanted to play you this little clip from President Reagan. I hope you'll take this for what it's worth. It is indeed beautiful. Hold on a second, I gotta get rid of this other thing here. Oh, come on, get out of here. Really? Hold on a second. I'm going to still try to get rid of this thing.
You asked the defendant about.
We created government as our servant, beholden to us, and possessing no powers except those voluntarily granted to it by us. Now a self-anointed elite in our nation's capital would have us believe we're incapable of guiding our own destiny. They practice government by mystery, telling us it's too complex for our understanding. Believing this, they assume we might panic if we were to be told the truth about our problems. Why should we become frightened? No people who have ever lived on this earth have fought harder, paid a higher price for freedom, or done more to advance the dignity of man than the living Americans, the Americans living in this land today. There isn't any problem we can't solve if government will give us the facts, tell us what needs to be done, and then get out of the way and let us have at it. We created government as our servant, beholden to us, and possessing no powers except those voluntarily granted to it by us. Now a self-anointed elite in our nation's capital would have us believe we're incapable of guiding our own destiny. They practice government by mystery, telling us it's too complex for our understanding. Believing this, they assume we might panic if we were to be told the truth about our problems. Why should we become frightened? No people who have ever lived on this earth have fought harder, paid a higher price for freedom, or done more to advance the dignity of man than the living Americans, the Americans living in this land today. There isn't any problem we can't solve if government will give us the facts, tell us what needs to be done, and then get out of the way and let us have at it.
That's true. We talked about this before. We need to tell our governments to shove off. Okay? We need to tell our governments to shove off and let us do our own work of governance ourselves. We don't need a government coming in to slap us around, to slap diapers on our faces, and to lock us down. And folks, that is their plan starting in October. Already they started, and I talked about this before. I don't believe it's true. I do not believe that Jill Biden is sick. I believe it's a ploy by the government, either to try to pull on some heartstrings of people, or to tell us to get out of the way. They're going to tell us what to do. That's what I think is happening. We need to make sure that we're ready, willing, and able to do the right thing at the right time. And we need to be ready to do just that. Now, I came to a scripture here about 11 a.m. this morning. I want to read it to you, because quite honestly it has everything to do with what we talked about tonight. It's 1 Peter chapter 3, and this is verse 15. A short verse. But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. To give them hope. All of us together, we have the knowledge that we have for a reason. We have the knowledge to govern ourselves. We have the knowledge to help our fellow man, to help our families, our loved ones, our neighbors, our friends, the people we work with. We have that knowledge for a reason. I'm asking each and every one of us to get off our backsides and use that knowledge for good. Stand up and be counted. A man that I knew and loved, Gordon B. Hinckley, said, "Stand ye in holy places." And I've said that I don't know how many times. Brothers and sisters, tonight, I'm asking all of you, within the sound of my voice, stand ye in holy places. Stand up and be counted. You are smart. You are intelligent. You have knowledge that God has given you, has sanctified you with. Let's use that knowledge to make sure that our world survives. Let's help usher in the second coming of our Lord and Savior, even Jesus Christ. I thank you for this time that you've given me to be together. Please give us a thumbs up on your way out if you enjoyed what we've talked about tonight. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about Southern California. Thursday, at the beginning of the program, we're going to be talking about the New Madrid Fault and other earthquakes that have happened. That's always going to be a focus. We're not going to let the rest of this world go to pot. We're going to make sure that we have a sound hand on what is going on. And don't ever forget Maui. Let us continue to pray. Let's continue to send our condolences to those people. Never let them forget who we are. They're loved members of our family. And here in the United States, members of our country. Countries all over the world love and respect the Hawaiian people. We must never let them forget about us, and we should never forget about them. I ask the Lord to bless you now as we end this program. May God bless you. May God always be with you. May you feel the Spirit of the Holy Ghost lead and guiding your lives. Stand in holy places. That's where we want to be, with our Heavenly Father. God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it just as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, may peace be with you. May the Lord's Spirit be next to you, picking you up when you need it, standing next to you to inspire you and lead and guide you. I am there with you. Again, God be with you till we meet again. Have a great night, folks. We'll see you around the corner. Good night, everybody.